Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Before we go to the editorial analysis, let us have a look at the enrichment part. Today, not too many words, only a few words, about six or seven, and many of these words are quite familiar. A ramp up, sustain, hoard, pledge, commendable. And today you're going to work on error location, para jumble, fillers, new pattern, as usual, editorial words. Let us go to the editorial and see what exactly it says. How does it start? A welcome decision. It starts on a positive note. What is the main idea of the editorial? Vaccine production must be ramped up to sustain exports and meet domestic demand. This editorial is all about production must be increased or ramped up. That is one thing. For what? One for exports of vaccine, and a second to meet the domestic demand. So the entire editorial talks about production related to vaccines and also ramping up vaccines to meet one, the domestic demand, the other one to sustain exports. There are two words over here. One, a ramp up. A ramp up means what? Increase the level or amount of something sharply. Usually it goes with production, a ramp up. But if you take the word ramp, that goes with the fashion industry, stage shows. Whenever there is a fashion show, the models walk on the ramp. They go forward and come back. But here, ramp up is a phrasal verb. Increase, usually production related. And what is the second word over here? Sustain. We have got many a time sustainability goals, but sustainability goes with using the resources, keeping the future generations in mind. The word sustain means to maintain, keep something in operation or maintain something. The main idea talks about the production aspect related to vaccines. It touches two dimensions. One is exports, the other one is meeting the domestic demand. Now, the editorial provides a background information. In a welcome move to address a huge vaccine inequity globally, India will, from October, resume exporting much needed COVID 19 vaccines. So India is going to resume. There's one important word, resume. Resume means what? You start work, you stop, you start again. That is one of the meanings in a welcome move. So as the editorial starts on a positive note, the same idea is being reiterated. In a welcome move, a positive move to address the huge vaccine inequity globally. Editorial says there is inequity globally when it comes to vaccine distribution. To address that problem, India will, from October, resume exporting much needed COVID 19 vaccines. This year, in the month of March and a little before that, India exported. But because the domestic demand was so much huge, it had to stop exports and it had to focus on the domestic needs. Based on that, they have used the word resume. That means what they did in the past, they stopped. Now they want to resume exporting much needed COVID 19 vaccines. And why should they export? Globally, there is vaccine inequity, means what? Not evenly distributed. Many countries in Africa, they're not getting the vaccine. They haven't got the vaccines yet. The decision comes after the government severely restricted vaccine exports in March and stopped them in mid April. So, when you look back, till March they were exporting, India was exporting, and stopped them in mid April because of the domestic demand. The renewed export drive, known as Vaccine Maitri, now the renewed export drive, now they want to export and they have given a name for that. It is known as Vaccine Maitri. The renewed export drive, known as Vaccine Maitri, will first prioritize the global vaccine sharing platform. There's a platform, international platform, vaccine sharing platform, COVAX. So India is going to the priorities will be one, COVAX, vaccine sharing global platform, and neighboring countries in and around India. Just 4 days after the vaccination program kicked off, kickoff is a phrasal verb to start an event or an activity. Just 4 days after the vaccination program kicked off in India on January 16, India shipped the first batch of vaccines to Bhutan and the Maldives as a part of its vaccine diplomacy. This editorial goes back, it talks about what happened in the month of Jan, Feb, March, April. Then we had to stop exporting the vaccines, the reasons behind, how it started, why it had to stop. So, just 4 days after the vaccination program kicked off in India on January 16, India shipped the first batch of vaccines to Bhutan and the Maldives as a part of its vaccine diplomacy, a new term. Till mid April, it was exporting. India had supplied nearly 20 million doses to COVAX, the international or global platform, vaccine sharing platform, and donated nearly 11 million, while nearly 36 million doses were sold to 26 countries. That is quite impressive. Till mid April, India had supplied nearly 20 million doses to COVAX and donated nearly 11 million, total 31 million, while nearly 36 million doses were sold to 26 countries. Sold to so many countries and donated also, same time. But with the daily, then we got a problem. Domestic, what happened? The number of cases started surging. Surge means sudden increase. But with the daily fresh cases and deaths in the second wave beginning to surge in March, and the supply of vaccines from the two manufacturers not meeting domestic demand, the priorities quickly changed and the export of vaccines was put on hold. Mid January it started, then they exported March, mid April. At that time, what happened? There was a surge in the number of cases, domestically speaking, within the country. And based on that, the priorities changed. They had to stop exporting and they had to focus on the domestic need. So, two companies, it talks about that. But with the daily fresh cases and deaths in the second wave beginning to surge in March and the supply of vaccines from the two manufacturers not meeting domestic demand, these two companies could not meet the domestic demand, and because of that, the priorities quickly changed, and the export of vaccines was put on hold. They had to put it on hold. That means they stopped exporting. It became possible to export vaccines till March, mainly due to the slow uptake. How could they export till March? Here, editorial talks about the reasons. It became possible to export vaccines till March, mainly due to the slow uptake of vaccines by healthcare and frontline workers. Initially, they did not come forward. The uptake was slow. Slow uptake of vaccines by healthcare and frontline workers, and Covishield vaccine manufactured late last year, nearing the 6 month expiry date. Two problems. One is related to the slow uptake of vaccines by the healthcare and frontline workers, and the other one, Covishield vaccine manufactured late last year, nearing the 6 month expiry date. The daily uptake of vaccines began climbing steadily with vaccine eligibility too. Then things changed. Domestic demand went up. On what basis? The daily uptake of vaccines began climbing steadily with vaccine eligibility too, all above 45 years from April 1st, and all adults above 18 years from May 1st. Because of the age groups, things started changing, the demand went up. With most developed countries hoarding vaccines and prioritizing their vaccination, and India too halting all exports, vaccine supply to the COVAX facility has been hit. Now, what happened here? It talks about two different things. One is that developed countries, they started hoarding vaccines. There's one important word, hoard. Hoarding has two meanings. As a noun, it means when you go to the downtown, the busiest marketplace in a town, you see huge advertisement boards. For those, we use the word hoarding, that is British English. Americans use the word billboard. So, with most developed countries, hoarding, but here it is used as a verb. As a verb, what is the meaning of the word hoarding? Accumulate or store illegally, accumulate money, petrol, provisions, essential goods. You store, you hide, not legally, illegally. That is known as hoarding. With most developed countries hoarding vaccines and prioritizing their vaccination, and India too halting all exports, what was the impact of that? Vaccine supply to the COVAX, the global vaccine sharing platform, facility has been hit, obviously. No source, it got hit. As a result, about 80% of the nearly 6 billion doses administered globally have been in high and upper middle income countries. Upper and middle income countries, not the low income countries, 80%. All this talks about inequity. The editorial is all about inequity when it comes to globally vaccine distribution. Vaccine inequity, here he talks about the same, the word inequity. Vaccine inequity is striking in Africa. In this editorial, the editorial focuses on the African continent and African countries. Vaccine inequity is striking in Africa. Just 2% of the 6 billion doses have been administered here, and less than 3.5% of its people fully vaccinated. It is nothing. 3.5%, less than 3.5% of its people fully vaccinated, and only 2% of the 6 billion doses have been administered. That talks about inequity. While efforts are being made through COVAX to increase vaccine supply to Africa, the continent will still end up with 25% fewer doses than anticipated by the end of 2021. By the end of this year, what is going to happen? The African continent and the countries in Africa, they will still, in spite of the efforts from this COVAX, the global platform, will end up with 25% fewer doses than anticipated by the end of 2021. So it is going to be shortage. Only 15% of the over 1 billion doses pledged by the developed countries have reached Africa, which has made unsuccessful attempts to buy vaccines. Now, the developed countries, because they started hoarding, only 15% of the over 1 billion doses pledged by the developed countries. The developed countries pledged these many doses, but of that, only 15% of the over 1 billion doses pledged by the developed countries have reached Africa. 85% did not reach, which has made unsuccessful attempts to buy vaccines. And now, present scenario, and now with the US and other developed countries focusing efforts on approving booster doses for certain categories, the supply of vaccines to Africa and other countries to immunize even healthcare workers will continue to be restricted. In Africa and other countries, any country, the first priority healthcare workers, frontline workers. But because the developed countries, with the US especially, and other developed countries focusing efforts on approving booster doses for certain categories, they have their own priorities. The supply of vaccines, the impact of that, the supply of vaccines to Africa and other countries to immunize even healthcare workers will continue to be restricted. They may not get to what they deserve or what they need. A vaccination policy that leaves many of the countries in the global south vaccine deprived will be hugely counterproductive. This is an important point. The editorial touches the impact of all this, and the editorial says the impact of this is going to be counterproductive. There's one important word. Counterproductive means what? Having the opposite of the desired effect. You do something expecting a positive result, but you get a negative result, then we say counterproductive. We also use the word boomerang. So this vaccine policy where they don't want to distribute the vaccine around the world and send the vaccine to, as promised, to the African countries and focus more on the domestic market. What is the impact of this? A vaccination policy that leaves many of the countries in the global south vaccine deprived will be hugely counterproductive. How is it going to be counterproductive? This is an important point in the editorial. As long as vaccine inequity prevail means exist, the virus will continue to circulate. Imagine some countries are protected, the population completely vaccinated, and a lot of countries not vaccinated. What is the impact of this? What is the impact of this inequity? New variants will develop. If everyone across the world, all the countries, the population, major 50% or 60%, they are vaccinated, the chances are less for the new variants to emerge. But because of this particular situation, a few countries fully protected, many countries not fully protected, even the healthcare workers, they are not getting the vaccine. That is going to be counterproductive. As long as vaccine inequity prevails, the virus will continue to circulate, thereby increasing the possibility of more dangerous variants, far more transmissible and resistant to vaccines than Delta emerging. Last week, I think we did one editorial related to the new variant Delta. Now, this sentence talks about Because of this inequity, new variants are going to emerge and they may be more dangerous. They may be more dangerous than Delta variant. How does the editorial end? India's decision to resume vaccine exports is hence commendable. Because of this potential danger, where inequity is there, the impact of that, new variants may emerge. India's decision to resume vaccine exports is hence commendable. Commendable, an important word, a positive word. Deserving praise, we also say praiseworthy. So India's decision to resume exports at the same time focusing on the domestic need is highly appreciable, commendable, praiseworthy. The need to quickly ramp up vaccine production here to sustain exports, even while meeting the ever rising domestic demand, cannot be overemphasized. The same idea, the main idea is being reiterated. What is it? The need to quickly ramp up, increase vaccine production touching two dimensions. Here, to sustain, one, to sustain exports, even while the second dimension, meeting the ever rising domestic demand, cannot be overemphasized. We don't have to overemphasize that. We have to focus on two things while ramping up the production of vaccine. One, exports, the other one, domestic market. What are the questions you can think of based on this editorial? What is this editorial about? When will India resume exporting much needed COVID 19 vaccines? Easy to answer. What is a renewed export drive known as? What is the name given to the renewed export drive? Again, easy to answer. Why did it become possible to export vaccines till March? India could export vaccines till March and mid April it had to stop. Why did it become possible to export vaccines till March and why India could not export vaccines after mid April? Easy to answer. In the context of the editorial, what will be hugely counterproductive? What is the key word over here? Something is going to be counterproductive. What is that? Obviously, the entire editorial talks about inequity when it comes to vaccine distribution. That is going to be counterproductive. The reason being, if some countries completely or fully protected, many countries not protected, there is every possibility for the new variants to emerge, and that is definitely counterproductive. Now let us go to practice questions based on exam topics. Have a look at the sentences and try to spot the error. Please read the first sentence, a lengthy sentence, not that easy, but still give it a try. In his first remarks after being sworn, Mr. Channi asked the centre to withdraw the three contentious farm laws, saying his party stood firmly with the farmers, agitating against the black laws. Vaccine Maitri. Almost all the questions easy to answer. No, juxtapose is different, counterproductive is different. Nagamaleshwari. Juxtapose means two opposite things are present at the same time. Something like black and white photographs and color photographs within the same frame. Then we use the expression juxtapose. Counterproductive goes more with the result. You try to do something expecting a positive result, but you get a negative result. Then we use the word counterproductive. Very good. The anonymous, first one to respond, the anonymous and Madhav also. But here the answer is there is an error in the first part. In his first remarks after being sworn in, one word is missing, preposition. Swearing in ceremony, we say. After being sworn in, what is the expression we use usually? You come across in the newspapers. Swearing in ceremony. Here, in is important. Being sworn in is missing. That is the error. There is an error in the first part. The controversy forced the party into damage control, with Congress chief spokesperson Randeep Surjewala saying the election would be fought under the leadership of both Mr. Channi as well as Mr. Sidhu. This is an easy one based on grammar rule. Any question based on grammar rule easy to answer. Already have learned the rules. There's a question. Within no time you should be able to answer. Who is this? I know nowadays you're not regular. Okay, 6:30 to 9:30. Please carry on, no problem. These you can watch later whenever you get time during the day. Many of you must have cleared prelims. Yes, here both, that is a clue for you. The conjunction, the pair, both as well as a common error, not correct. We have to use both and. Excuse me. So what is this here? It is about a conjunction. What is the correct combination? This is correct. But if you use both as well as, this is wrong. This is common error. This question is based on grammar rule related to conjunctions. So not difficult to answer. Please go to question number 3. He further said it was below his dignity to take the test with Cherlapalli jail alumni. You can say alumni, alumni, in an indirect reference to Mr. Reddy's jail term in the popularly known note for vote case. This is also based on what you have already learned. No problem, Prithvi Raja. Please focus on your mains exam, very important. Here, he further said, nothing wrong with this part. It was below his dignity to take the test with Cherlapalli jail. We use the word, here the context talks about only one person, Mr. Reddy's jail term, only one person. So when it comes to nouns of Greek and Latin origin, which are very important from the exam point of view, singular alumnus. What is the plural of this? Alumni or alumni? Here it talks about one person. Based on that, will you say singular, plural? Based on that, the context talks about one person. Will you say alumnus or alumni? What will you say? We have to use a singular form here, not the plural form. So alumni is not correct. It should be alumnus, singular. Because the sentence talks about only one person, Mr. Reddy's jail term. Imagine it talks about a lot of people, then you have to use a plural form. Answer is this is not correct. We have to use a singular form. That's right. Question number 4. A total of 215 action teams comprising of 8,106 sanitation workers were engaged in 3 shifts to remove waste from the 303 kilometers of procession route. This is also an easy one based on what you have already learned. Do remember, you have already learned something, you can't afford to miss. A new rule, a new expression, that can be justified. But already you have learned, then you can't afford to miss. You have to get it right. Yes. Nagamani, first one. A total of 215 action teams comprising. The word comprise does not take the preposition of. Comprise of, wrong. Consist of, correct. Consist you can use of. Comprise you cannot use. Based on prepositions, prepositional combination. Telangana High Court on Monday instructed the state government not to fell the trees on the premises of Ravindra Bharati and Kala Bhavan at Lakdika Pool till further orders. Question number 5. Where is the error? Have you got the date? Mains date. I want those who have cleared prelims. Please answer. Have you got mains date? Nothing wrong with on the premises. No, no, nothing wrong with that. That is correct. No one has got it right. Not to cut. Nothing wrong with that. And fell also means cut. To fell. We have two verbs which come under confusing verbs. Fall, fell, fallen. Another verb, fell, felled, felled. This sentence is about the second one. October 1st. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, October 17th. Answer, no error. How come you guys missed that? Not to cut, not to fell, both mean the same. Here we have to use a verb in the basic form. What is the verb here? Not this one, it is this one. Not to cut or not to fell, both mean the same. There is no error. That's an important question. But no one got it right. Now I see Vijayan says no error, Rajshekhar says no error, but initially no one got it right. RRB PO September 25th, clerk 17th October, and October 1st, SBI. SBI mains on October 1st. All right, great. Now please listen. There are three blanks, not double, triple in fact. And there are three words. They are not in the correct order. You have to select the words based on the correct order. You have to select the option. Thank you very much. I got it. September 25th, and till October 17th, you have to focus on mains. 3 out of 5. 3. Okay, 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 fine. Please go to 3 blanks, not 2 blanks, and 3 words, not in the correct order. You have to select the words. Anonymous says third option. Naga Malleshwari, third option. And Anisha also says third option. Rajshekhar. Yes, answer is the third option. The crux of the matter, the most important thing, the crux of the matter is that post publication, progress on the NRC has been excruciatingly slow. Adverb. Slow, how? Excruciatingly. And not just due to the pandemic. Answer is the third option. Very good. Question number 2. After all, no nation can. This is a wonderful sentence. Personally, I like this sentence. It is true, in fact. Good morning, rather late, Shaker. After all, no nation can. Yes. What is the answer for the second question? Very good. I think you guys got it right. It is, look at the sentence, very interesting, thought provoking sentence. After all, no nation can afford a few islands of excellence surrounded by the sea of mediocrity, condemning them to eternal inferiority. A wonderful sentence, perfect wording, and it is not acceptable. A few islands of excellence surrounded by the sea of mediocrity, condemning them to eternal inferiority. Eternal means forever. Eternal means forever. Forever. Ramesh. A very good sentence, thought provoking sentence. And here you have to focus on effort. Effort has got two different meanings. One goes with money, financial aspect. Imagine a particular car is about 45 lakhs. You're not that rich. What will you say? I can't afford to buy that car. I can't afford to buy something. I can't afford that. One meaning. The second meaning, you can't afford to do something, means if you do that, you may lose your reputation. So here it talks about the second meaning. No nation can afford, means they cannot do something like that. If they do, then it is going to be a problem. So an important word. Here it has nothing to do with the financial aspect. Please go to question number 3. This is a bit difficult, but if you get one word, then you can. Ability to spend one meaning, and ability to do something, that is a different meaning altogether. So what is the correct order? Question number 3. Third option, turmoil, coup, P is silent here, which have triggered protests, which have triggered. So the last one should be a verb in the past participle form. Who is a noun? This is also a noun. So if you focus on the last option, you get it right. Have triggered. Protests have triggered. That is a clue for you. Answer is the third option. Turmoil means what? Disturbance. Typical combination, political turmoil, coup, dethroning a particular government, P is silent, trigger, to stimulate something. Third option is correct. After 6 years in power, please go through this one. It goes with Canada. The context is Canadian elections. Dethrone, I have already given the meaning. Coup means, imagine there's a particular government and soldiers or military, they dethrone that particular government. Then we use the word coup. Toppling the government, topple means dethrone, remove from power. Here, signs of fatigue, falling short of high expectations. Set in his 2015 a landslide victory, huge majority. Answer is the third option again. No, not the second option. Here we have to start with fatigue, to get exhausted, to get tired, and expectations, high expectations. What is the typical combination? High expectations. And also elections, when someone wins with thumping majority, we say landslide victory. So landslide win, all based on combinations. Oh, I forgot to remove these words. Please ignore this question. The judiciary had, I don't want to spend time on, just ignore. Please go to the next one. Parajumble. Parajumble, easy and interesting based on education and also institutes or universities, their ranks every year. High expectations is a clue. And also elections, landslide victory, landslide win. All the four correct, very good. But in the exam, they may give correct words, correct order, correct words, wrong order. None of these. They try to complicate the same thing. The bottom line, you should know the words, that is very important. BF, the sixth edition of the National Institutional Ranking Framework, NIRF for higher education, Was released. Very good. Here we have to start with BF. By the Union Minister of Education on September 9, 2021. After that, it becomes easy. What is the third one? A few words, they are the clues. You should be able to get the correct order within no time based on certain words. One is B, second one is was released. BF, you got one pair. What is the third one? Usually, when the results are declared, we start with those who are very happy, happy to some extent, not happy at all. That is the order. Based on that, the third one should be A. No, no. All of you listen very carefully. Systematic presentation or systematic thinking. We start with, when it comes to results, those are very happy, happy to some extent, not happy, negative result. Jubilant, that is a clue for you, are those that have made it to the top 100 or have improved their rankings or scores by a few notches. That means a few ranks. A. Then those downcast are those that have slid in rank or score but are still upbeat as they are in the coveted list. They are still in the 100, in that 100. Very happy, then it is to some extent happy. What is the next one? The third one, no rank at all. Those with no rank may be ready with their excuses and commitment to do better next year. No, I don't think you guys are getting it right. And what is the last one? Since the NIRF ranks only the top 100, an estimated 935 universities in any case are bound to remain shut out. Here you have to focus on jubilant, and those with downcast are those that have slid in rank. Some people have improved their rank first. Some people, the rank went down. Still, they're happy because they're in the top 100. And those without the rank, this is the order: A, E, C, D. Very simple, pure logic. Jubilant, downcast, and those with no rank. And finally, it talks about top 100. Still, 935 universities in any case are bound to remain shut out. Please try to get these out of 5, 6. Okay, good, good. Idioms. To be in a quandary. How many of you attend? Let me ask a question. Set Gurukul, Unacademy channel, Unacademy channel. I teach bank related stuff 9:30 a.m. How many of you attend? I would like to know. So to be in a quandary, to be in a difficult situation, yes, this is third option. Queer fish, eccentric person. This is a fourth one. Quixotic idea, foolish idea. This is the fifth one. A rainy days, time of financial shortage. First one. A rank and file, common people. They have given so many times in SBI. You guys have not answered my question. I would like to repeat. How many of you attend, those who come here, how many of you attend the bank related session every morning 9:30 a.m. on Set Gurukul Unacademy channel, YouTube channel, Unacademy YouTube channel? One is Surya John, only one student from here. Sometimes it happens, there's a problem with that. Only a few students. Okay, only two students have responded. Fine. Out of so many. Okay. Third student. Please have a look at the words from today's editorial. A ramp up. Three students. Fine. Balu Naik, I know you are the first one to be there. Four students. Fine. Six, seven, offline. Okay. A ramp up means what? Okay. Ramp up. Please answer. These seven. Okay. Okay. Fine. 1G. Increase the amount of. Yes, it is 1G. Sustain, not regular. Okay. What is the second one? Sustain. 1E. No, no. Sustain means maintain. It should be D. Hoard. What is the third one? Important word. Hoarding. If you read the newspapers, quite often you come across that word. Store illegally. A is the answer. Very good. And what is a pledge? Pledge means a solemn promise. Any silent. F is the answer. Excuse me. Commendable, an important word. Commendable job, commendable work means what? Praiseworthy. B. Counterproductive, have opposite effect. You try to do something expecting a positive result, you get a negative result. So C. Boomerang, another word. Kick off, to start an event. Excuse me, I have a bad throat. So has anyone got all the seven correct? Before I wind up the session, I would like to tell about new courses have been launched on Academy, and now there is a 25% discount. They give 15% if you use my referral code. My referral code is Murthy10. You get 10%. So total 25% discount, and this offer is valid only for 4 days till 24 September midnight. And this is what you have to pay: 1 month, 3 month subscription. And do remember, it is the offer valid till 24th September, and 15 plus 10%, total 25% you can get off. That is one fourth. All the seven correct. Wonderful. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Those who have cleared prelims, I wish you guys all the best. Do well. Focus on mains. And when you have time, you can watch, no problem. But mains very important. I will also try to bring questions related to mains, at least on and off. And till October 17, you have to focus on mains patterns. I will do that. I will start, Om Prakash. I'm going to start soon. Other rules. And do remember to subscribe and share. I will provide the PDF, use that, and join the Telegram group. All that you have to do, click on the link.